By the end of this video, I'm going to have shown you how to meditate longer. Now, let me caveat this by saying that it's not necessarily crucial that you do meditate longer, but for many people it would benefit them a great deal if they did, purely because you're devoting more time to the practice, you're giving it more mental energy, more time, and all of that helps you. Most people that I know perhaps get to 20-30 minutes in terms of the length of time that they meditate for. That's great, there's nothing wrong with that at all. That is a brilliant amount of time to meditate. But if you feel like you want to give it a bit more but you're just struggling to get beyond that threshold, I'm going to explain today how you can do that. The first thing that I want to explain is that meditation has three aspects. To begin with, we've got dharana. Dharana is contemplation. Dharana is thinking about spiritual ideas. It's contemplating who you are, contemplating existence. It's looking around now and saying to myself, where did that tree come from? What's the nature of that tree? You know, I know that I'm one with that tree from a spiritual perspective, but I want to experience that more. When you start narrowing your thoughts down and streamlining them in this way, this is what we're starting to do when I talk about dharana. That is to contemplate reality, to contemplate who am I, what am I. It's taking your thoughts along this way, it's talking to the divine. It could be in prayer and things like that. After that, we've then got dhyana. Dhyana being one-pointed meditation. So this is where you perhaps are following the breath, looking at a candle flame, repeating a mantra. What you've done is you've taken a circle and you've made it very small. You've placed your awareness onto something small, something narrow, and every time your mind deviates from that, you bring it back. That's what most people consider to be meditation. But meditation is an umbrella term, really. And dhyana, which is that focused attention, and also contemplation are both forms of meditation, truthfully. You've also got samadhi, which is basically a deeper state of meditation, a much deeper state of meditation, but that's not necessarily needed for today's video. So the way that you can go for longer in your meditation practice is by cycling between contemplation and one-pointed meditation. And what I'd recommend you do is start your meditations off with contemplation. Because like I mentioned, we've all got this big circle, which is our five senses. We're aware of what's going on. The thoughts are kind of quite broad. We've not narrowed them down yet. So we create a smaller circle, which I call dharana, or which in yogic traditions is called dharana. I've not made it up. And we create a smaller circle. So we're narrowing in our concentration. And we contemplate ideas, we contemplate who we are, we contemplate reality, whatever, things like that. You might even read a book. That can be considered dharana if it's a spiritually aligned book. From that point on, you might spend 5 minutes doing that. You then move into dhyana, which is one-pointed meditation. So after a certain amount of time, let's say 5 minutes, you start observing the breath. Normally, you might sit with that for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. That's great. Let's say your threshold at the moment is 20 minutes. I would then recommend that you meditate following the breath for 15 to 20 minutes as normal. And when you feel naturally like you want to start coming out, rather than coming out completely, drop down, so to speak, to dharana. Drop down to contemplation. So just allow your concentration to broaden, come off of the breath and start contemplating. Okay, who am I? Okay, where did I come from? What was I before I was born? Where was I before I was born? What's the divine? What's the truth of this reality? Where have I come from? So it doesn't need to be that scattered, but you get the idea. You start to contemplate spiritual ideas. You just spend maybe 2-3 minutes contemplating spiritual ideas. And then what you do is you go back to dhyana. You go back to one-pointed meditation. You start observing the breath again. And you might do that for 5 minutes. Then you drop down to contemplation. And you start contemplating again. You spend 5 minutes just contemplating, or 2-3 minutes contemplating. After a certain period of time, you cycle up. You go again to that one-pointed focus. You just follow the breath, and you follow the breath. And you cycle like this for as many times as you feel comfortable. You might just do it twice and get yourself to that 35-minute mark. You might do it 3-4 times and go a bit longer. You'll get a feel for what you can manage. But what you'll find is that this will develop the habit of you sitting down for longer periods and spending more mental energy and putting more intent into your actual practice, more thought, more effort, I suppose, as well into your meditation practice. And the idea being is that in time, you'll find that that isolated period of focusing on the breath will naturally extend because you've become more acclimatized and comfortable with sitting for longer periods. So I wanted to share this with you today. If you need help with meditation in terms of learning new techniques, the support of an amazing community, contact with me if you have questions and things like that, I'll leave a link in the description to my online school. It's called the Inner Journey School. But failing that, I'll see you on the next video. Thanks so much.